On my first day of work, I'll sleep with you. The poor alien mother begged a human for a job. Halcyon, 9 Spire was built upward, not outward. Every level stacked life like floors in a hive. People lived close, but they rarely cared about someone within arm's reach. Rain cut through the open atriums, tapping metal railings and echoing off ceramic walkways. It was a cold sound that made most hurry inside. Inside Tide Leaf House, a tea and supper shop tucked under a hanging orchard platform, Rowan Kale wiped down the counter for the 3rd time in 10 minutes. It was a habit from his old job. Before this, he served as a Federation Marine medic. Orders, routine, observation. He still counted doors and exits on instinct. He still scanned crowds for tension. He still slept in short bursts. Civilian life was calmer, but his body never learned calm. Now, his mission was simpler: keep Tide Leaf House alive. The rent was high. Supplies cost more every month. If he failed, he would not lose soldiers. He would lose a home he finally controlled. That mattered. A shape moved beneath the awning. Someone unsure whether they belonged here. A woman stepped inside, dripping water. Her clothing was thin. A storm veil wrap pinned at one shoulder and a tide wrap skirt tied high for walking. Her green skin looked chilled, textured with pale shimmer scales along her ribs. Her long white hair clung to her cheeks and collar. Her eyes took in the shop quickly. Exits, patrons, safe corners. The same instincts Rowan once used. She had fear under her steady face. He set the cloth aside. You look like you've been walking for hours. I have. Her voice was soft but strained. Eris Annel. She paused, steadying her breathing. I'm looking for work. Rowan didn't respond immediately. He studied details. Her hands, roughened by labor. Her cheeks, hollowed from hunger. Her posture, defensive but ready to move. She wasn't weak. She was tired. Before he could speak, she rushed out words she clearly hated saying. I can clean, serve, Washington, anything. She swallowed. Her voice nearly cracked. If you hire me, I'll sleep with you. 3 nearby stall owners leaned in, sending gossip like it was profit. Eris lowered her eyes. She regretted her phrasing the second it left her mouth. But panic had pushed her. Her son had not eaten enough in days. You did what you had to do when no one listened. Rowan's jaw tightened. He understood desperation. He knew the look of a human being on their last line of dignity. No, his tone was firm. Eris's shoulders tightened. She prepared herself for humiliation. Then Rowan continued more steadily. No to that offer. Yes to the job. The shift in the room was immediate. Smirks died. No joke left to enjoy. Eris blinked. Her mind took a moment to register the meaning. Her chest rose in a shaky breath. You're sure? Yes. Rowan handed her a staff apron. Let's start. Why was she here? Because her home district collapsed after the trade route shifted. Because outsiders like her were the first to be denied jobs. Because she refused to lose her child to hunger or state custody. Her mission: protect her son, Iron. Keep him fed, sheltered. There was no future without that. Rowan pointed at the cutting space. Thin slices on the Zyron berries. Customers like the crunch. She nodded quickly, absorbing instruction like someone who couldn't afford mistakes. She cut clean and steady. Her hands regained confidence with each motion. Lunch crowd arrived. Rowan called orders: 2 Furlan teas, 1 Larn brew, 1 Orvan water. Eris repeated them clearly. No stutter. He noticed she met rude stares with a straight spine. She had pride buried under the fear. Then a courier shoved his tray forward. What's your price tonight, Greenskin? Eris froze, breath sharp. Before she could react, Rowan stepped in front of her. Not aggressive. Just there. You talk like that again, Rowan said. You drink somewhere else. The courier looked him up and down. Rowan didn't blink. The man cursed under his breath and left. Eris's pulse slowly eased. She whispered, thank you. Rowan didn't make eye contact. Keep working. He didn't want her gratitude for doing something basic. Respect. Hours slipped by. The line stayed long. Money came in, good money. Rowan noticed customers exchanged fewer glances at her appearance and more interest in the quality of service. After closing, the silence felt heavy. Chairs stacked. Lights dim. From the pantry door, a small boy peeked out, half awake, rubbing his eyes. Jade green skin like his mother. White hair sticking up. Eris tensed, as if expecting Rowan to complain. He needed somewhere warm to sit. I could take him outside now. Rowan crouched, voice gentle but not pitying. He's welcome here. Want something to eat? The boy nodded once. Rowan gave him a small sky stag meat bun. Iron ate quietly, watching every adult movement, the way children who had seen too much uncertainty often did. Eris's throat tightened. She forced herself not to tear up in front of her new employer. When she wrapped the shawl around Iron, ready to leave, Rowan spoke again. You don't have a place to sleep, do you? She shook her head once. Take the loft upstairs. One night. No debt. No arrangement. His tone didn't leave space for bargaining. What? Her voice was hushed, suspicious. Life had taught her every kindness had a hidden price. Because you worked hard, Rowan said, and because you asked for help. That answer shouldn't have felt rare, but it did. Upstairs, the loft was small but solid. A cot, sealed windows, a proper lock. The smell of clean cloth and citrus from the kitchen below. Eris helped Iron settle on the bed. Rowan handed her one of his shirts so she could change out of the wet wrap. It was soft, wide, and covered her down to the thigh. She kept a hand on the hem, shy about how exposed she felt. Rowan sat on the opposite side of the room. He didn't invade her space. He didn't stare. He set down a small ceramic cup and poured warm tea. This is how we welcome someone to stay, he said. It's a shared breath ritual. You drink, then I drink. Equal exchange. Eris hesitated, then reached for the cup. Her hand brushed his. Small contact, but her heartbeat jumped. Rowan saw the tremor in her fingers. No pressure, he murmured. Just breathe. They sat close. Their knees nearly touched. Iron slept between them. Eris studied Rowan's face in the low light. He looked disciplined, but tired in ways he didn't show. A man carrying weight he refused to talk about. She recognized that kind of endurance. Her voice barely carried. You're not like the others. Don't compare me to them, Rowan said. Just judge what I do. She nodded slowly. She liked that answer. A quiet, restrained intimacy settled over the loft. Not rushed, not demanded. Just two people who had spent too long surviving without trust. Close enough to feel each other breathing. She placed her hand over his, testing safety. He didn't move until she gave a second, steady signal, a small squeeze. Then he turned his palm to hold hers. Warm, firm, certain. For the first time in months, Eris didn't fall asleep afraid of waking up alone. Rowan didn't sleep much. He kept watch, listening to the storm fade outside, making sure nothing threatened the small family now resting inside his walls. His new mission was already clear: protect them. Morning arrived gray and cold. The loft vents carried the thin whistle of the waking city. Rowan checked the time. He'd slept less than an hour. Habit kept him alert long before rest did. He looked at the cot. Eris and Iron were curled together beneath the shawl, her hand resting protectively over her son's back. For a full second, Rowan allowed himself to watch the calm rise and fall of their breaths. It was different seeing someone sleep in safety instead of fear. He stepped downstairs, brewed tea, and reheated leftover skystag meat slices for breakfast. Customers would come early, and he needed the shop ready before Eris woke. That was the arrangement. She worked. He provided shelter. There were unspoken boundaries, and he intended to protect those too. Eris came down shortly after, wearing the oversized shirt and tying her hair back with a strip of torn fabric she had fashioned into a band. Her eyes flicked between Rowan and the counter, as if checking whether last night had consequences she hadn't noticed yet. You slept? Rowan asked. She nodded. Better than I have in weeks. He didn't press further. Some stories did not belong to morning conversations. Iron settled on a stool with his breakfast. He ate silently, glancing around as if memorizing every safe spot in the room. Rowan watched him a moment. Children that age should be loud, messy, curious. Silence meant too much training and caution. Eris spoke first, softer than she meant to. Thank you for letting us stay. I'll pay you back. Work covers it, Rowan replied. No debt carried. She nodded, still unused to a deal without hidden cost. He handed her a folded apron and a clean skirt wrap from the supply shelf. "Wear these today. Keeps you dry." She hesitated, fingers resting on the fabric. New clothes, even plain wear clothes, felt like a luxury. When the doors opened, the city pushed in again. Customers lined the counter early. Word traveled fast when a shop regained energy. Eris moved with purpose, repeating orders clearly, slicing fruit clean, plating toasties with precision. Rowan monitored everything: her tempo, the crowd reaction, the boys' safety. Voices whispered, curious eyes flicked between them. Rumor clung to the air like steam. Rowan caught one table watching too long. He didn't confront them. He adjusted the pace, stepped closer to Eris when the pressure rose, gave her silent proof that she wasn't alone behind the counter. But despite his vigilance, the first slip came from a direction he hadn't expected. A woman, maybe late 50s, leaned forward over her tea. "Pretty help you've taken in," she said, eyes narrowing. "And so quickly. People will talk." Rowan wiped the counter slowly. "People talk when they're bored. People talk when something doesn't look right," she pressed. Before Rowan spoke again, Eris set down a plate in front of the woman. Her voice remained steady. "I'm here to work. You're here to eat. That looks right to me." The woman blinked, caught off guard by directness. She lowered her eyes to her food and said nothing more. Rowan didn't smile, but something in his chest eased. During a short break, Rowan led Eris to the back room to show her the storage ledger. He needed someone else to memorize it if he trusted her here. She absorbed every detail quickly: numbers, suppliers, shelf layout. It surprised him how fast her mind adjusted to business structures. "You've done this before," he observed. "I used to manage a tea stall," she admitted. "Before my district shut down." Her jaw tightened. "Before we were pushed out." "Pushed out by who?" Rowan asked. She paused, choosing her words carefully. "This city," she said. "Not officially. Not with laws. Just people deciding we're taking too much space." She ran her thumb along a crate edge, grounding herself. "Iron isn't registered. Without stable work, they'd force separation. I can't let that happen." No wonder she fought so hard. The fear beneath her calm now had shape. Rowan nodded once. "You're safe here. No one's separate your family." She breathed deeper, a small relief loosening her shoulders. The front bell rang. Break was over. Afternoon brought a surge. More than the usual crowd. People weren't just here for food. They were here to see the new dynamic, judge, analyze, confirm rumors. Rowan felt it. Eris felt it even more. Every move she made seemed under review. Rowan decided to shift the narrative. Near peak rush, he rang the service bell once, a solid, final sound. Conversations paused. Even customers who disliked waiting looked up. "Tide Leaf House is making an update," Rowan said, voice steady and professional. "Eris is our new floor lead. Any questions or concerns go to her first." A public title, public responsibility, public respect. The room absorbed it with startled silence. Some expressions softened. Others turned away, robbed of a scandal they hoped would unfold. Eris slowly looked at Rowan. For the first time, he caught a clear emotional reaction in her eyes. Pride. Not given. Earned. She worked the rest of the shift with stronger posture. She made jokes with customers. She corrected one man's order without shrinking. The day ended profitable, steady, stable. Exactly what Rowan needed to keep the shop alive. They cleaned after close. Rowan glanced upward. "Loft again tonight. You have the key." Eris tightened her grip on the mop handle. "We should talk about last night." Rowan froze only a moment. The memory hung in the space between them. Warmth. Nerves. Choice. "No promises were made," he said. "No expectations are set." Eris looked down at her hands. "I rushed into that because I didn't know if there'd be another chance. I've lived too long waiting for doors to slam. I'm not ashamed, but I want to do things right. If we get close again, I want it to be because we both choose it, not because I'm afraid of losing everything." Rowan relaxed his stance. Quiet understanding took the place of tension. "Then we decide when we're ready," he said. Her smile was small, but genuine. And for Rowan, that was already enough progress for one day. Iron tugged at Eris's shirt, sleepy and done with the long hours. She scooped him up. When she turned back toward the stairs, she paused. "Good night, Rowan." He met her gaze. "Good night." When the loft door clicked shut upstairs, Rowan stood alone in the glow of the hanging lanterns. He felt something unfamiliar through the fatigue. A purpose that wasn't duty. A connection that wasn't forced by crisis. He realized what scared him most. He wanted them to stay. Not out of obligation. Out of choice. And that meant more was at stake than he had prepared for. The next morning, Rowan arrived in the shop early. He cleaned and prepped in silence, trying to tame the unfamiliar tension that had been building inside him since he told Eris she was safe here. Safety was not an easily given promise. Not for a former Marine. Not for someone who had learned how quickly walls could fall. Eris and Iron came downstairs a few minutes later. She had tied her long white hair tighter, the borrowed skirt wrap adjusted into a more polished look. Her movements weren't timid anymore. She walked like someone with a place here. Rowan noticed every detail before he forced himself to look away. "Breakfast is ready," he said. It was the same as yesterday, grilled sky stag meat and warm tea, but it tasted better when all three of them sat together at the small corner table instead of hurrying past each other. Iron leaned against Rowan again. It wasn't casual. It wasn't accidental. The child had decided Rowan was safe. That meant more to Rowan than he allowed to show. They opened doors as the sky trams hummed awake. The city was busy earlier than usual. People came in waves, more curious eyes than before. Some customers greeted Eris politely now. Others offered fake smiles that disappeared when she turned away. The shift in attention made Rowan uneasy. He watched the front. He watched the knives. He watched every stranger's hand. There were still questions floating around the shop. Was Rowan taking advantage of her desperation? Was she staying in the loft for the wrong reasons? Was Rowan breaking rules about immigration or residency? Was there something between them? People didn't like gaps in information. They filled them with whatever would hurt most. Eris worked with purpose, but Rowan saw the stiffness in her shoulders whenever someone whispered too loudly. So he made a decision. He stepped beside her at the counter, placing himself just close enough to show unity, but not ownership. "Customers respect confidence," he said quietly, his voice just for her. "You earn it every minute they see you." "I'm trying," she said. "You're succeeding." Her breathing eased. Her chin lifted slightly. That small change made Rowan strangely proud. The next rush arrived fast. Orders piled. Voices raised. Eris kept pace, only stumbling when a man in a thick coat leaned across the counter and tried to grab her wrist. "How about service with a smile?" he said. Eris jerked her hand back. Rowan was there instantly, pushing the man's arm off the counter. His voice dropped into a level register that once made soldiers freeze. "Back away." The man scoffed. "What's your problem?" She didn't mind yesterday. Rowan's expression remained calm, but his stance changed. Feet set, weight centered, not backing up even half an inch. "She works here. You don't touch employees." A few customers stepped back. They could feel the pressure rising. Rowan didn't care. Training took over. He scanned for allies, distance, exits, Iron, always Iron. Eris slid closer, holding Iron's hand protectively. "Rowan," she murmured, "I'm fine." "No," Rowan answered, eyes locked on the man. He crossed the line. The man saw the attention from the room, felt the judgment turning on him, and retreated with a muttered insult before leaving entirely. When the door closed, Rowan exhaled through his nose. His heart still drummed hard against old instincts. Eris pulled his sleeve to make him look at her. "You don't have to defend me every time." He shook his head once. "Yes, I do." That was the first moment she realized he didn't see protecting her as a duty. He saw it as a choice. Later, during a quiet hour, Rowan brought a small box from storage, a registry slate housing, and a blank entry chip. "You'll need this soon," he said. "If you're staying." Eris stared at the housing, realizing what it meant. Registration, legitimacy, a real claim to residency, the right to raise Iron without interference. "You're helping me too much." "No," Rowan replied. "I'm helping my business. You make this place better." Eris saw through the excuse. She saw his honesty under the attempt to downplay it. She placed her hand over the box, fingers trembling slightly. After the district collapse, I didn't think anyone would give me a chance. She paused. I want to do this right. For Iron. And for myself. Rowan nodded. He admired the fight in her voice. Just then, a new figure stepped through the door. A small-framed woman with a slate uniform and a city badge clipped to her belt. She scanned the establishment slowly, her expression unreadable. Rowan's stomach tightened. Authority didn't visit without reason. The woman looked at Eris first. Her gaze passed over the green skin, the foreign attire, the child perched on a stool with a staff spoon in hand. Then she turned to Rowan. "Tide Leaf House?" she asked. "Yes," Rowan answered, standing taller. "How can I help you?" "We've received inquiries about a new employee," she said. A name was mentioned. Eris Annel. The room stiffened. Eris's fingers curled around Iron's shoulder. Rowan stepped forward enough to put himself between them. "She works here," he said, "and she's under my protection." "That's what I'm here to confirm," the official replied. "Is she properly registered? Has her work authorization been filed?" Rowan didn't blink. "It's in progress." The official lifted a brow. "There are deadlines." Rowan didn't back down. "And there's a child who needs stability. You can see she's providing value here. There's no threat. Give us time." The woman studied Rowan for a long, tense moment. Then she gave the slightest nod. "You have 30 days, she said. "No inspections before then." Eris's knees almost gave out from relief. Rowan kept a hand near her back to give subtle balance. The official left without another word. When the bell stopped ringing and silence returned, Eris finally inhaled fully again. 30 days, she repeated, almost whispering. "That's barely anything." "We'll meet it," Rowan said. Calm, certain, like he had never once failed under pressure. She looked at him, really looked at him. This wasn't just about a job anymore, not just a place to sleep. Rowan had put himself in front of authority for her. That wasn't something he did lightly. She knew that deep down. "Why do you care this much?" she asked. He didn't hesitate. "Because I want you and your son safe. For more than one night." Her chest tightened. She stepped closer, voice low. "Rowan, if we stay, I want it to be because we're wanted, not tolerated." His gaze didn't shift away. "Then stay because I want you here." In that moment, the question every customer whispered, the one Rowan and Eris had avoided since the first night, finally became real. Was this a partnership or the beginning of something much deeper? Neither answered out loud. They didn't need to. The promise hung between them, sharp, clear, and impossible to ignore. And outside the shop, the city kept moving, unaware that two lives had just crossed a line they could never uncross. Rowan locked the door after the last customer left. The shop felt different tonight, warmer, crowded with unspoken decisions. The registry box sat on the counter as if it were watching them both, waiting for someone to make the next move. Eris wiped down a table, slower than needed. Her eyes drifted back to Rowan again and again, testing if he would avoid her now that the official visit forced everything into the open. He didn't avoid anything. He checked inventory, counted credits, and looked right at her when he finished. "You did well today," he said. She tied the apron strings into a knot behind her. "I kept thinking someone would report me again." "They won't," Rowan replied. "Not while I'm here." He didn't say it for reassurance or praise. He said it like a fact, a rule of the house. Iron yawned loudly, still gripping Rowan's tasting spoon. The boy looked up at Rowan before his mother, a clear sign that he now saw the man as a pillar in his small world. Rowan noticed this too, and the realization hit him harder than expected. He turned off the front lights and motioned them upstairs. The loft door closed behind them with a soft click. The room was dim except for lantern light slipping through the shutters. Eris sat on the cot, Iron leaning against her side, and Rowan stood a few steps away. There was a careful space between them now. Not distance, caution. They both felt it. "We should talk about the 30 days, Rowan said. Eris nodded. Her pulse climbed. He continued, "If we finish the registration, the city won't question your status. But you'll need a stable residence address. That's part of the requirement." "You mean here?" she asked quietly. "If you choose it," Rowan answered. She considered his words. "You're offering a permanent place. That changes everything." "I know." Her voice lowered. "And us? Does that change? Rowan took a step closer, then stopped. He didn't want to make promises with adrenaline, but he didn't want silence to imply hesitation either. It changes, he said. Only if you want it to. Eris looked down at Iron's hair. You didn't know us a week ago. I know enough now, Rowan replied. Enough to want more days like today. Her eyes lifted, meeting his. I'm still afraid. So, am I? Rowan admitted. It was the most honest thing he could say. That honesty broke the remaining space between them. Eris stood slowly, careful not to wake Iron. She stepped close enough for Rowan to feel her breath. She wasn't trembling. She was choosing. Hold me, she whispered. Rowan's hands lifted to her shoulders, then drew her in. Her forehead touched his chest first, then her cheek. She exhaled sharply, nerves releasing one by one. His fingers moved to her back, steady, protective, asking permission every second. You're safe here, he murmured. And you are too, she answered. It stunned him for a second. He had spent his whole life protecting others. No one had ever said he needed protection, let alone offered it. She leaned back enough to see his face. Did anyone wait for you when you left the Marines? No, he said. I left that life on purpose. But you didn't build this place to be alone, she pressed gently. Rowan looked away. A small tell he usually hid perfectly. I didn't know how to let anyone in. Her voice softened. Then let us. Iron stirred, breaking the moment. Eris lifted him into the cot and tucked the shawl around him. She turned back to Rowan, calmer now. I want us to move forward slowly, she said. Not because we're scared, because we're careful. He nodded. Slow is good. She searched his expression. We will be together tonight, but no rushing. No mistakes made out of fear. Rowan swallowed, grounding himself. I'll follow your pace. Eris stepped closer again and wrapped her arms around him, resting her head on his shoulder. Rowan held her fully this time, not afraid of his own strength. Their bodies fit with quiet certainty, no urgency, just recognition. Minutes later, she pulled slightly back but stayed close. I'll sleep here with Iron. You take the chair. For now. Rowan nodded. It made sense. It showed trust without crossing the line carelessly. He took the chair beside the cot, close enough that his knee brushed the mattress. Eris lay down with Iron and faced Rowan through the dim light. Neither looked away. Her eyelids lowered. Good night, Rowan. His voice softened in a way only she got to hear. Good night, Eris. The shop below was silent. The city noise outside dulled. Inside the loft, 3 hearts settled into the slow rhythm of a family beginning to form. Rowan stayed awake long after they slept, not out of vigilance this time, but because peace was unfamiliar and he wanted to feel every second of it. He didn't know what would come tomorrow. More questions, more laws, more judgment. But tonight, Eris and Iron were here, and Rowan had never been more certain of anything. Rowan woke to the sound of soft footsteps above him. Eris was carefully shifting out of the bed, trying not to wake Iron. Early morning light filtered through the shutters, illuminating her white hair in a faint glow. Rowan sat up in the chair, back stiff, but he didn't complain. It had been the best sleep he'd had in years, even upright. Eris noticed him awake and paused. You didn't have to stay in that chair the whole night. I wanted to be here, Rowan answered. Honest. She held his gaze a moment longer than necessary, then smiled briefly. Breakfast? There was no awkwardness between them, but there was anticipation, pressure building under every ordinary word. Downstairs, Rowan prepared the grills. Sky stag meat, citrus steam rising from kettles. The familiar scent grounded him. Today, he needed to act. 30 days would disappear fast, and if they didn't define this relationship publicly soon, others would define it for them. Eris tied her new apron, stitched quickly by Rowan the night before. He noticed she wore the clothes he gave her with dignity now, not embarrassment. She belonged behind the counter. Customers flowed in soon after the opening bell. Familiar faces, curious ones. People who claimed they were here for the tea but couldn't stop watching Rowan and Eris exchange glances too real to ignore. A man at the counter spoke boldly. So it's true? You brought her in for more than work. Rowan didn't hesitate. She's the best person I've ever hired. That's not what I asked. Before Rowan could respond, Eris placed a plate down with a calm hand. If you care about the answer, You care more about our lives than your own. Eat your breakfast." The man sat back, embarrassed. Rowan gave a small approving nod, but the tension didn't fade. It simmered. Customers wanted clarity. The city wanted gossip. And Rowan was tired of letting rumors fill the space between truth and assumption. He wiped his hands, stepped to the center of the room, and rang the service bell twice. Silence spread, all attention on him. "Everyone here knows Eris works at Tide Leaf House," Rowan began. "Some of you question why. Some think you know. You don't." He looked at Eris, then at Iron playing with spoons at the back table. "She and her son are part of this business, and part of my life. That's the only explanation I owe." The room processed those words slowly. Rowan continued, stronger. "Anyone who speaks to her without respect will leave. Anyone who threatens her will answer to me. If you don't like that, there are other places to spend your credits." Murmurs rose, but none challenged him. The rules were now public and simple. Eris stood motionless, lips parted slightly. Rowan had just anchored her in the city, firmly. After customers dispersed, she walked up to him, still stunned. "You didn't have to say it like." "Yes, I did," he cut in. "No one gets to question your worth." Her breath wavered. She didn't hide the emotion this time. "Thank you." The hours that followed moved with newfound ease. People looked at Eris differently, not like an outsider to judge, but like someone Rowan had put his own name behind. Respect is contagious when a strong man demands it. Midday, Eris invented a new menu item. Crispy skystag strips glazed with Larn syrup and sprinkled with dried berry dust. Rowan watched people bite and widen their eyes. It worked. The menu worked. She worked. Iron's quiet presence became less noticeable in the background and more like part of the place. When a customer dropped utensils, the boy rushed over, handing them a clean set with a shy smile. Laughter followed. Compliments. Someone tipped him a credit coin. The child wasn't invisible anymore. Later, when the line slowed, Rowan approached Eris at the wash station. "You didn't ask why I really defended you." "I saw why," she said. "You told a room full of strangers the truth." "No," Rowan replied. "I told them the beginning of it." Eris swallowed, pulse quickening. "What's the rest?" He reached for her hand, carefully, like it could break if he pressed too fast. His fingers brushed the back of hers. She didn't pull away. "I want to build something with you," he said. "This shop, this family, and I'm not waiting 30 days to start acting like it's real." Her voice was barely audible. "Rowan." He lifted her knuckles to his lips, small, deliberate contact. Her breathing hitched. His thumb grazed a shimmer scale near her wrist. The intimacy was electric but quiet, grounded, real. They didn't kiss. Not yet. That would come when neither needed courage for it. Someone entered the shop, and Rowan stepped back, but he didn't release her hand until she let go first. Evening arrived with a steady calm. The shop glowed. Iron napped on a bench wrapped in his mother's shawl. Rowan and Eris finished locking up. At the stairs, she turned to him, nervous but certain. "Rowan, I want us to keep going. Not rushed, but forward." He nodded. "Forward works." She leaned up and pressed a soft kiss to his cheek, quick but full of meaning. His jaw locked from the impact of such simple closeness. Her whisper brushed his skin. "Thank you for choosing us." She lifted Iron, went to the loft, and closed the door lightly. Rowan stood in the darkened shop alone, hands slowly touching the spot her lips had been. He didn't smile, but for the first time in years, he wanted to. Rowan stood alone in the shop for a while after Eris went upstairs. He replayed everything from the day, his words to the crowd, her hand in his, that quick kiss. None of it felt accidental. None of it felt uncertain. It felt like the start of something he no longer wanted to resist. He turned off the lights and climbed the stairs quietly, stopping near the loft door. He listened, soft breathing on the other side. It grounded him. He rested his hand on the doorframe for a moment, then stepped back. Patience. They had agreed on a pace. Morning began without tension. Eris came downstairs first, hair loosely braided, cheeks flushed from sleep. Rowan was already brewing tea, sleeves rolled up, focused. She moved closer than needed to reach a cup. Their arms brushed. Neither pulled away. Iron still sleeping? Rowan asked. "For now," she said. "He'll wake hungry." I'll save a plate. Rowan poured tea and added, in a low voice, for both of you. She didn't look away this time. I like when you think about us. They ate in quiet comfort. No rush, no awkwardness. Just two people easing into a life they hadn't planned. Business came heavier than usual. The public declaration had changed everything. Customers arrived curious, supportive, or simply wanting to test the new buzz around Tide Leaf House. Eris didn't falter under the attention. Her confidence had weight now. But midday brought a shift Rowan didn't expect. He stepped outside for a minute to accept a delivery. Full and seed sacks dropped to the curb. He lifted one onto his shoulder, familiar strain in his muscles. A man approached, broad stance, military posture, haircut too precise to be civilian. Rowan knew the type. He felt his spine straighten automatically. "Rowan Kale?" the man asked. Rowan set the sack down. "Depends who's asking. Sergeant Arel Voss. Deployment was once under your med watch. I heard you were here." Rowan's jaw tightened. He hadn't wanted his past to walk into this city, let alone his shop. Arel's eyes scanned the storefront. "So you really left it all behind, trading battlefields for kettles." "I traded killing for living," Rowan said flatly. Arel huffed something like a laugh. "And the alien woman? People say she sleeps upstairs." Rowan's eyes sharpened. "People should watch what they say." Arel raised his hand slightly. "Relax. I'm not here to make trouble. Just checking if the man who pulled my leg out of the fire is still alive under all this civilian calm." Rowan didn't appreciate the reminder. The battlefield memories hit fast. Blood, screams, orders shouted through smoke. He pushed it down. "What do you want, Arel?" "To offer a job," Arel replied. "The Spire Defense Team needs trained people. Good pay. Better than running a tea house. You be back where you belong." "I belong here," Rowan said immediately. Arel's gaze slid toward the shop windows. "Because of her," Rowan didn't answer with words. The look he gave was answer enough. Arel clicked his tongue. "Thought so." He handed Rowan a card. "If the city turns on you, and it might, call me. You know I don't leave my people." Rowan didn't take the card. Arel set it on the crate and walked off with a casual wave. Inside, Eris waited. She'd watched through the glass. Her face showed careful worry. "Who was that?" she asked as Rowan re-entered. "Someone from before," Rowan said. His voice was quieter than earlier, reminding me of who I was. "Do you want to go back?" she asked, searching his eyes for honesty. "No," Rowan said, "but sometimes the past doesn't ask permission." Eris stepped closer, lowering her voice. "You don't have to protect us alone." Rowan blinked. He wasn't used to someone offering help. Real help. "There are things about me you don't know," he said. "Then tell me," she whispered. "We can face them together." He wanted to, but the day wasn't done testing them. The afternoon rush hit hard. Tables packed. Voices loud. Orders fast. Rowan worked the kettles. Eris handled the floor. They moved like a well-trained team, until Iron slipped on spilled drink and fell hard, plate breaking beside him. Eris froze. Every cell in her body fired into panic. She rushed to him. Other customers stared. An accident turned into a spectacle immediately. Rowan got there in 2 strides. "Iron," he said, crouching. "Look at me." The boy whimpered, clutching his knee. A small cut bled through his shorts. Nothing fatal. But Eris shook, her mind flashing worst-case images. Rowan's voice softened, trained for injury and fear. "He's okay." He lifted Iron gently and carried him to the back room. Eris followed, hands trembling. Rowan cleaned the cut quickly, disinfectant, a single precise bandage wrap. Iron watched his calm face, soothed by the steady tone Rowan never lost. Eris tried to speak, but her voice cracked. "He could have." "He didn't," Rowan said. "He's safe." Iron leaned into Rowan, arms slipping around his neck. That small gesture hit Rowan harder than anything else. The boy had chosen him in a moment of fear. Rowan looked up at Eris. Her panic had shifted into something deeper, trust, heavy and real. She brushed tears off her cheek and whispered, "Thank you for being here." Rowan stood and set Iron down once the child was steady on his feet. He placed a hand on Eris's shoulder, not for comfort but connection. "You don't have to do everything alone anymore," he said. "Neither do I." The meaning lingered between them. loud and undeniable. Customers were still watching when they returned to the floor. Rowan picked up a mop, erased the evidence, and shot a look at anyone who stared too long. Eris resumed serving, shoulders tight at first, then settling as she saw Rowan glance her way, always aware of her and Iron. When the final customer left that night, Rowan closed the shutters and faced Eris directly. No distractions now. What happened today, he said, proved something. She nodded. We're stronger together than apart. Rowan stepped toward her, slow and controlled. I need to be clear. I want you here. Not as staff. Not as a temporary resident. Her throat tightened. Then as what? He didn't touch her yet. He let the truth sit in the air. As someone I choose, he said. Every day. From now on. Eris pressed her lips together, overwhelmed by how right that sounded. She reached for his hand, not shy, not unsure, and guided it to her cheek. Rowan's thumb brushed the warm skin, cautious but full of intent. This time, they didn't break away. Their foreheads touched, breaths shared, hearts finally stepping into the same pace. A real beginning. I'm ready to move forward, Eris whispered. Rowan's voice dropped, low and certain. Then forward we go. Upstairs, Iron slept peacefully in the cot, trusting the walls around him. Downstairs, Rowan and Eris stood close enough to feel each other's heartbeat. No fear, no rush, just a deep promise tightening between them. The next day would bring more challenges, more eyes on them, more decisions. But tonight, they stood united, not because they had to, but because they wanted to. Rowan didn't let go of her until she chose to step back. When she did, it wasn't to create distance, only to settle Iron safely in the loft before the night ended. Her fingers lingered on Rowan's for a second longer than needed, confirming the truth they had already spoken without words. The morning came with clearer air and calmer streets. Rowan noticed right away how Eris moved differently now. Shoulders back, steps confident, eyes unafraid of who might be watching. She belonged here, and everyone would see it. Breakfast was quiet but full. Iron sat closer to Rowan than the day before, occasionally nudging his cup toward him for help, a silent routine forming. Rowan didn't comment. He just helped, steady and comfortable. The rush began early. A group of regulars claimed 2 tables, and a few new faces peered in with curiosity. The bell kept ringing. Business had become good, their business. Eris worked the counter fluidly, guiding customers with a firm but polite tone. Rowan noticed every improvement, every small hint of authority taking root. At one point, a vendor arrived with a larger-than-expected shipment, crates of Furlan seed and Skystag cuts. Rowan carried them in without hesitation, the weight settling on his shoulders like nothing compared to what he once endured. Eris watched from inside and felt a sharp pull in her chest, admiration mixed with relief. He could carry the heavy parts of life. She didn't have to do that alone anymore. Rowan returned, wiping sweat from his brow. We'll need more space soon, he said. We're growing faster than I thought. A good problem, Eris replied. He shook his head slightly. A shared problem now. Her smile was quiet but full of emotion. Later, while Rowan chopped meat for the grill, Eris spoke under her breath, testing the idea that had been forming all morning. What if we hired someone else? Rowan paused mid-cut. You don't think we can handle it? I think, she said carefully, you're carrying too much alone. He raised an eyebrow, impressed. She wasn't asking permission. She was thinking like a partner. We'll talk about it, he said, and he meant it. The afternoon settled into a pleasant calm until someone unexpected stepped through the door. A small figure, thin, wrapped in patched cloth, eyes wide with hunger, stood frozen at the entrance. A child, alone, younger than Iron by a year or 2. His skin was a paler shade of green than Eris's, hair unevenly cut, like survival trimmed it rather than apparent. The room went still. Eris knelt immediately, instincts firing. Hey, she said softly. Where are your parents? The boy shook his head, backing up a step. Fear lived in his movements. Rowan moved slower, palms open. It's all right. No one here will hurt you. Customers watched, curious but detached. Rowan hated that cold distance, the way society chose who deserved sympathy. Eris stepped toward the boy, but he flinched and bolted right back out the door. Rowan didn't hesitate. He ran after him. Eris left the counter to pursue too, worried Rowan might lose sight of the small figure in the maze of market stalls outside. The boy darted into an alley. Rowan cut ahead, blocking one path, guiding him subtly back toward the open streets. Eris approached from the other side, careful not to corner him aggressively. "It's all right," she said, slowing her pace. "We were like you, not long ago." Her voice cracked with memories she rarely lets spill. The nights she and Iron spent searching for help, the doors that closed, the fear of separation at every checkpoint. The boy stopped running, not ready to trust, but too exhausted to keep fleeing. Rowan crouched low, keeping himself less intimidating. "Are you hungry?" The boy hesitated, then nodded once. Rowan stood and extended his hand. "Come with us, just to eat. Then you decide what's next." The child stared at the hand like it was a trap, but Eris knelt beside Rowan and held out her own hand. "We didn't come to take anything from you," she said. "We came to give." That reached him. The boy's fingers twitched, then curled around Rowan's hand. They returned to the shop. Rowan prepared a plate immediately. Eris guided the child to sit with Iron. The two boys stared at each other, cautious but curious, sharing silent recognition. Eris stood beside Rowan at the counter, lowering her voice. "He reminds me of us, not belonging anywhere." Rowan glanced at her. "We can't save the whole city." "No," she whispered, "but we can save the part inside these walls." Rowan heard the hidden meaning. What if this place became more than a business? What if it became a home for more than 3 people? His heart hit a pace he hadn't felt since leaving the war. Not fear, not combat readiness, but the adrenaline of building something that mattered. As customers left and the day closed, the boy, whose name they learned was Nurin, still watched Rowan with wide, cautious eyes. He didn't move toward the door. He didn't ask to leave. Rowan sat beside him. "You can stay tonight," he said. "Like I told your friend here, no strings." Eris added quietly, "If you want to." Nurin nodded slowly, overwhelmed by the simple offer. Iron climbed onto Rowan's lap, as if confirming the seating plan. Rowan froze for half a second, then relaxed, letting the small weight settle. Eris looked at Rowan, holding not one, but 2 children. She realized something important. He wasn't simply protecting them. He was already becoming something for them. A father figure, a partner, a foundation. As Rowan looked back at her, breathing steady and eyes focused, she saw it clearly. They were no longer 3 strangers sharing space. They were building a family, one piece at a time. And tomorrow, the city would see it too. Nurin slept curled up near the loft door, wrapped in a spare blanket Rowan found in storage. Iron slept beside him, one small hand resting protectively over the boy's arm. Eris sat at the edge of the cot, quietly brushing her fingers through Iron's soft hair, stealing glances at Rowan as he locked up the shop below. Rowan returned upstairs, pausing at the sight. 2 children asleep, a green-skinned woman keeping watch over both, and him standing there, realizing this scene was now his responsibility. Not a burden, a purpose. Eris looked up at him. "He is no one." Rowan lowered his voice so he wouldn't wake the children. "Then he has us." She searched his face, needing to know he meant it. "He did." "He'll stay," she asked. "As long as he needs," Rowan said. Eris exhaled, relief loosening tension she had carried since arriving in Halcyon 9. She stood and stepped toward Rowan. They faced each other, close enough that warmth passed between them in the cool loft air. "Rowan," she said, voice cautious, "we started this quickly, faster than I ever planned. But I'm not scared anymore." "You don't have to be," he replied. Her eyes flicked downward, then up to his again. "What are we now?" He didn't look away. "A family." Eris pressed her forehead softly to his. "Then I want to make that official. Not because of the registration. Because I choose you." Rowan had faced live fire, battlefield chaos, death in his hands, but nothing had hit him harder than those words. He kissed her. No rush. No hesitation. A real kiss, the kind that sealed decisions and ended doubts. Her hand slid gently to his jaw, feeling the moment become real. They parted only when Iron shifted in his sleep, mumbling. Rowan and Eris smiled, not embarrassed but grounded. They both knew time would always include interruptions now. It was part of loving a family. Rowan brushed his thumb across her knuckles. We submit the registry tomorrow. She nodded. Together. Morning arrived bright and unfiltered. City traffic hummed below, and today felt different, like everything ahead had weight and direction. Rowan dressed in clean clothes, not his usual stained apron. Eris wore the best version of her wrap skirt and shawl, hair braided neatly. Iron held Rowan's hand without being asked. Nurin followed close beside Eris, eyes wary but hopeful. They walked into the civic hall as four, but everyone could see what they were becoming. A clerk scanned them over, skeptical at first. You're applying for shared residency status? Yes, Rowan said. Eris Annal, her son Iron, and Nurin Talus as provisional dependent. The clerk looked surprised. 2 children. Rowan didn't flinch. They're mine to care for. Eris squeezed his hand once, a private thank you. Paperwork loaded on a slate. A holographic seal hovered faintly. Rowan placed his thumb first. Eris followed. The children simply watched, not fully understanding, but feeling the security settle like a blanket around them. When the seal flashed bright green, approval stamped into the public registry logs. Iron gasped and laughed at the spark of energy. Nurin's eyes widened. He looked at Rowan as if waiting for him to take it back. Rowan crouched to meet his gaze. You're safe with us. That doesn't change. Nurin nodded slowly, a tear slipping free. Rowan wiped it away with his thumb. No ceremony, no speeches, just a family officially declared. They returned to Tide Leaf House in a late afternoon. The shop opened with a special board written in Eris's careful lettering. Family Day, first meal free for children. The place filled fast. Customers congratulated them. Some looked confused, a few judgmental, but most smiled sincerely. Eris worked the floor with a glow in her expression that Rowan had never seen before. Confidence wasn't something she borrowed anymore. She owned it. Rowan grilled meat, flipped toasties, and checked on the boys constantly. Iron helped deliver plates. Nurin learned quickly, handing out spoons and shy smiles. At one point, Rowan caught Eris staring at him from across the shop, a look full of quiet wonder. She approached, leaning her palm briefly on his arm. You built a house, she said, and then you filled it. We filled it, he corrected. She rested her head against his shoulder for a second. I'm happy. He turned and kissed her hairline, gentle, grounding. Me too. Night fell with the shop cleaned and locked, laughter still tucked in walls. In the loft, Rowan tucked both boys into their shared bed. Iron asleep instantly. Nurin still awake, watching the ceiling. Do you feel safe? Rowan asked. Nurin nodded. I'll try to be good. You already are, Rowan said. He placed a reassuring hand over the blanket. The boy relaxed, eyes closing slowly. Eris stood behind Rowan, arms wrapping around his waist from behind, a gesture she never would have dared days ago. You're good at this, she murmured. He exhaled. I never thought I would be. Eris stepped around him, lifting his chin so he looked only at her. You are exactly what we needed. He took her face in his hands and kissed her again, deeper than earlier, full of certainty. Eris returned it with equal resolve, fingers curling into his shirt. They broke apart for air, foreheads touching. This is home, she whispered. It is, he agreed, and it always will be. They climbed into bed. Eris nestled against Rowan's chest, his arm wrapped securely around her. The boys slept inches away, breathing softly like the steady promise of tomorrow. Halcyon, 9 Spire continued its busy life outside, unaware of the quiet revolution in the loft above Tide Leaf House. A woman who had lost everything now had her future back. A man once ready to live alone now had a family. 2 children without a place in the world now had one. No danger chased them anymore. No threat waited in the shadows. No questions remained unanswered. The registry seal glowed faintly on the shelf, steady, bright, permanent. Their new life had already begun, whole, safe, and chosen. A complete, happy ending.